Toxic Masculinity.
I'm toxic, she's masculine. Together we are toxic masculinity. And Valeria, darling, shall we read the first story?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Biden working to mandate vaccine passports.
Biden is working to yeah, this is a little bit terrifying if you're one of those people who doesn't want to get a passport, right? And there's a lot of people who don't want to get, oh no, look what I've done again. Let's see here. I'll get it, guys. Just give me a second.
Mark says that Valeria is whiter than ever.
I'm slowly making her whiter. There's a joke in there somewhere. I mean, the way I said it was kind of comedic, but I couldn't think of anything clever. Usually when you do something like that, you're sort of creating the setup for like some kind of joke. But I couldn't think of anything in time. All right, let's see here. Vaccine passports are on the way, but developing them won't be easy, says the Washington Post.
Maybe because it's unconstitutional?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. You can't do this. You can't force people to reveal their medical information in order to allow them to do. No, you cannot. You absolutely cannot. We have a whole thing, a series of laws. What the heck do they call those laws? You guys can write it in the. I used to work for a plastic surgeon, and I couldn't actually do. I was just photoshopping basically backgrounds of naked women. That was my whole job. It was not fun, believe me. Those women needed plastic surgery, and he wanted all the backgrounds of everybody to be the same, but he didn't always take the photos in the same place. Mm-hmm. So I had to cut out every woman and put them on a blue background. That was my job. And you couldn't like alter the scars or anything like that. You couldn't make it look like he was a better surgeon than he was, but you could change the background. But because of the laws that about revealing medical information, I could only work in the medical office. I couldn't actually do my work at home, which would have been a heck of a lot easier. Mm-hmm. If he had just sent me the images at home, I would have fixed them at home and sent it back to him. But because of the laws regarding medical information, I had actually go and use his computer and do it in his office, which was like a real pain. But it was fine. It was a reasonably well-paying job, and I liked the guy. And a black guy, by the way, black surgeon, plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills. So really oppressed. Really oppressed. He grew up going to Beverly Hills High School with Lenny Kravitz. And he ended up going to Harvard. His father was a gynecologist in Beverly Hills. Grew up like all my experiences in life are just like, every time I hear CNN tell me that we live in like this terribly racist country, it's just such a contradiction to my own actually like lived experience, as they call it on the left, right? Lived experience. But my own life completely contradicts that. Like everybody I've ever known that's black has not been oppressed. I mean, this whole thing is just, anyway, whatever. Anyway, vaccine passports on the way. So this is terrifying. Developing them won't be easy, nor legal, actually.
No, they should say developing will be unconstitutional.
They should, but it's Washington Post, so they're not going to write that. But let's have a look here. The Biden administration and private companies are working to develop a standard way of handling credentials, often referred to as vaccine passports, that would allow Americans to prove they've been vaccinated against the novel coronavirus as businesses try to open. Now, they do mandate vaccines for like school children and stuff like that. So in those cases, you would have to prove that you've been vaccinated. So I suppose it could be legal. Yeah, and certainly you would want something like this, I think, if you did actually have something that was like insanely dangerous, like something that would kill you like as soon as you breathed it in, type of a thing. You'd want to know that people are vaccinated against it as a bulwark against spreading it through the population. And so I could actually see this having some kind of like legal merit. Like you could do it, you could implement it. But I think that the point is really that this is such a much more mild virus than what we were sold, especially now that we have the vaccine. So many people are being vaccinated, and so many people have already had the virus. And this I think is actually the major problem with this particular issue right now. It's like people want to demand that you've had the vaccine, but a lot of people have already had the virus. They are already immune to catching it again. Now, you've pointed out, and we've talked about it, I think, on the show, that you can still catch coronavirus from a different strain if you've already had coronavirus. But it's incredibly rare. It's like 1 in a gazillion. It basically doesn't happen. Statistically, it doesn't happen, right? It's just like, it doesn't happen. So we don't have to take that into consideration. We can say if you've had the coronavirus, you cannot catch it again, right? That's a rule of thumb that you can go by that is valid enough that it is true, right? It's valid enough that it might as well be true. So you have to act as if that's the truth. And but they're not. They're basically acting like if you get coronavirus, well, it doesn't matter. You can totally catch it again tomorrow. But that's just not true. It's incredibly unlikely you're going to catch it again. All right, well, let's read this thing. All right. The effort has gained momentum amid President Biden's pledge that the nation will start to regain normalcy this summer with a growing number of companies, from cruise lines to sports teams, saying they will require proof of vaccination before opening their doors again. The administration's initiative has been largely driven by arms of the Department of Health and Human Services, including an office devoted to health information technology, said 5 officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss the effort. The White House this month took on a bigger role, coordinating government agencies involved in the work, led by coronavirus coordinator Jeff Zients, with the goal of announcing updates in coming days, said one official. One thing that's always a problem with having a left-wing administration, Democrats in office, is that they always want more power, more control. They want to interfere with your lives more and more and more and more and more. The great thing about having somebody like Trump in office, even if you are a Democrat and you don't like his policies, you don't like, you're for social justice and you love gays and black people and all that kind of crap. You want to vote. Anyway, whatever. Even if you're one of those people, you're still better off with a Republican in many cases, even if the policies that you want aren't being implemented, because Republicans are all about staying out of your life and having less government control and having more freedom and having more, private control of everything. So you don't, you're not interfered with quite as much. You're not bothered. Like, obviously I have a problem with a private company interfering in my life, with the YouTube constricting my views. So in that particular case, I think that would be an instance in which Republicans would act against the company's private interests to protect my private interest. Because when you have companies that have that much power, their voice is not more important than the million voices that they're silencing. I'm sorry. If you can silence one company in order to free up the voices of a million people, yeah, you got to do that, right? That is in the spirit of the First Amendment. Okay, moving on. Our role is to help ensure that any solution in this area should be simple, free, open source, accessible to people both digitally and on paper, and designed from the start to protect people's privacy. So the problem is they're acting like, we're going to make this really easy for you so that you can, you can get these, this proof of vaccination, and we're going to help you out to make this. No. What you're doing is you're making it easier to F over people who don't want to get the vaccine. Right? The faster you roll out some kind of vaccine passport, the quicker you will be able to oppress those who don't want to get the vaccine. That's the problem. And honestly, I wouldn't mind this that much. It would be a problem for me. Obviously, this vaccine passport thing, government mandated, that is government mandated version of it. If it were like a normal vaccine, it would still be a problem for me, but it wouldn't be as big of a deal, I don't think, if it was a traditional vaccine. But vaccines have been around forever, right? And we know they work. We know they're not particularly harmful to people. Well, some people would disagree with that. Valeri's looking at me like I'm crazy. But this new vaccine in particular, this is an experimental version of a vaccine. This is an experimental version. There are side effects that may be long-term that we don't know about. So some people are hesitant to take it, reasonably hesitant. And if you're a reasonably hesitant person and you decide not to take the vaccine, you should not be penalized for that in the coming months, right? I mean, if you look at all the data, all the charts show that, COVID deaths, COVID cases, everything's just gone down. It's all going down even more and more and more and more. I mean, it's disappearing. It's going to be more or less, not really an issue pretty soon here. The passport is expected to be free and available through application for smartphones, blah, 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 blah. But then it comes down here, and then they start talking about the difficulties, which I like. I actually can't believe that the Washington Post did this, and maybe they did this as a way of saying, like, this is a shame that they can't. I don't know. I don't really know what their position is on this, but they always got an angle that's anti-conservative, so I don't trust the Washington Post. Other countries are racing ahead with their own passport plans, with the European Union pledging to release digital certificates that would allow for summer travel, which we want to travel to Europe during this summer, so I don't know how we're going to...
I want to go to Italy.
Yeah, so...
There is this rumors, I'm not sure if it's like 100% true, that Italy wanted to, of course, bring the tourists back.
Yeah.
And if you will stay there for, would say, 5 days, government will pay for additional 5 days for you to stay there.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why I kind of want to go there.
Yeah.
Why not?
So, ladies and gentlemen, we will probably be in Italy at some time in probably December. Not December, sorry. September.
September, October.
I know words. September.
No, you don't.
We'll probably be there either late August or early September, I think. Probably early September.
September, probably.
Yeah, probably September. Because I would like to go for a while to Europe. And I want to go. I want to start at the north and go slowly south. Mm-hmm. And so we'll probably end up in Italy.
We'll meet in Italy.
We'll meet where?
In Italy.
You don't want to go anywhere but Italy?
I have to go to Russia.
I know you have to go to Russia, but anyway. Okay, we'll discuss our personal travel plans after the show. All right, so let's finish this up. Oh man, I hate it when this happens. Some of these news stories are a little bit too. They're a little bit too. I kind of cover them up with my fat head. All right.
I would say ear.
What's that?
I would say fat ear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, I'll shrink that up so people can see it a little bit. All right, so a lot of Valeria, a little bit of me. I think that's what everybody likes. That's preferable. Let's see. Okay, U.S. officials say they are grappling with an array of challenges, including data privacy and healthcare equity. Healthcare equity. Oh my gosh. I hate that word equity. It is such a lie. Everything about that word is a lie. And that whole concept. All right. They want to make sure all Americans will be able to get credentials that prove that they've been vaccinated, but also want to step up systems that are not easily hacked or passports that can't be counterfeited, given that forgeries are already starting to appear. Maybe we need to find those people who are doing that. One of the most significant hurdles facing federal officials, the sheer number of passport initiatives underway, with the Biden administration this month identifying at least 17, according to slides obtained by the Washington Post. Those initiatives, such as the World Health Organization-led global effort and a digital pass devised by IBM that's being tested in New York State, are rapidly moving forward. You know what I really hate about this, guys? This is the thing that drives me nuts, is that even though we're probably not going to end up using vaccine passports here in America for COVID, we'll probably end up with vaccine passports for other viruses. Like probably every virus going forward.
No, trust me. I think they are gonna to do this with COVID and every next.
I don't think so, because I think COVID's going to be so insignificant by the time they get this stuff figured out.
It's not, because this morning there was an article like CDC person was like, cases are rising again. It's going to be even worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think that's true, though. I think they're wrong. I don't think their cases are not rising. That's actually not true. Actually, let me just look at that real quick.
They gonna make them rising. They bringing all of these immigrants. They're not testing them for COVID.
Let's have a look here. So this is. Sorry, I've got my fat head's in the way. Let me just move that out of the way. There we go. So you guys can see the cases here. I mean, cases are rising. What here at the very bottom? Like there's like a little bump. Cases are not rising. Look, cases have like almost collapsed to
They
almost
will,
nothing.
they will rise.
I don't think they will
They're gonna
rise.
say it's a fifth wave. There is a
Oh,
10th
so you're
wave.
saying that they're going to indicate that it's rising even though it's not.
Yeah, because every autumn we have a flu.
Man, I can't believe so you guys, you don't understand. Like Valeria didn't really know anything about politics when she came to America, and she met me. We started dating. I started my YouTube channel. We ended up getting married. And now Valeria is more cynical than I am. Like she's like a hardcore right-wing anti, mainstream media, anti-left. Like, I mean, Valeria has gone way past me. Why are you looking at me like that? You're looking at me like you want to kill me.
No.
Disgust and anger is what I'm getting off for right here.
Well, I'm Russian, so we don't really
No.
like media there.
Yeah, I mean, you see, so I think, I do think that's really the reason. The reason is because you come from a place in which people were corrupt. And so coming to America, seeing some corruption is something that to you isn't surprising. And so when somebody does something bad in America or something that seems a little fishy, you immediately assume that they're corrupt. And I'm like, I'm a little bit more of an optimist. I grew up in a time when America, I think, was a little bit more honest. People were more honest. People were more trusting. And so I grew up in an era where you just didn't expect people to be as bad as they are now and as criminal as they are now. So I'm becoming far more cynical, but Valeria's beating me in the race to become a massive cynic about politics. Like she's just killing me on that one. Anyway, sorry, what were you saying about that?
Didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's about it. I mean,
There's 1 hour ago, Washington. Not the Washington something. 1 second. Boston Globe or New York Times. There's like 1 hour ago. The CDC director warns of impending doom, fears of another surge grow in mass and across the nation.
Democrats stoking hysteria. That's shocking. I've never.
Yeah, it's
I've
like
never,
20 minutes ago, 1 hour ago.
All right, let's finish this story up real quick here. So, the busboy, the janitor, the waiter that works at the restaurant wants to be surrounded by employees that are going to be going back to work safely and wants to have the patrons ideally be safe as well, said Brian Anderson, a physician at Meacher, a nonprofit company that runs federally funded research centers, who is helping lead the initiative, creating an environment for those vulnerable populations to get back to work safely. They always do this. They always like create a fake victim and they create a fake bad guy. And then they go, look, that bad guy is, this is what, creating sympathy, creating this like emotional effect. I mean, it's really patronizing, actually, the way they try to manipulate people with the way they speak. What if the busboy, the janitor, and the waiter, what if they don't want to get the vaccine? What if none of those guys want to get the vaccine? And what if they don't want to work in a restaurant that is filled with people who got the vaccine? I mean, honestly, most people don't care if somebody else gets the vaccine, but they themselves want to make the choice themselves. They don't want to be, they don't want to be manipulated by the government to do it. This is just government manipulation, and it pisses me off. Like, it makes me not want to get the vaccine just because they're demanding that we do so. And they want to know that people coming back to their businesses are safe and vaccinated. That would be a great scenario. Oh, go to hell. Anderson's team is aiming to release its free software standards in April. Blah, 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 blah. Don't care. Proof of vaccination, Washington Post is saying, may be a critical driver for restoring baseline population health and promoting safe return to social, commercial, and leisure activities, according to the March 2nd slides prepared by the Office of National Coordination for Health Information Technology and obtained by the Washington Post. But officials at the session, I don't know what the hell they're talking about, attended by more than 150 staff from health, defense, homeland security, and other departments, and even far-flung agencies such as NASA, warned of the confusing array of efforts underway for the credentials. Blah, 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 blah. I want to see what the other problems are. I'm looking for the other problems. So then this other guy, the coordinator for health IT, said, that he didn't like the term vaccine passports, adding that passports are something that are issued by governments. I think of them as vaccine credentials or certificates. Yeah, well, exactly. That's the whole point.
The problem that it's not going to be just passport for COVID. It's going to be passport for every single vaccine.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think it will be. I want to see what the other issues they're having. All right. Many people see this as a key aspect to getting things closer to normal. Okay, here we go. There's evidence vaccine passports could motivate skeptical Americans to get shots. Several vaccine hesitant participants at a recent focus group of Trump voters, led by pollster Frank Lunt, suggested their desire to see family go on vacation and resume all aspects of daily life outpaced the fear for the shots, particularly if travel companies and others move to require proof of vaccination. Exactly. This is a way of manipulating the people to do what you want.
I remember what I said.
Okay, what were you saying?
I said exactly this a year ago when the whole thing started.
Yeah. What I'm saying now?
Yeah. You were like, no, it's going to be fine. Like 2 weeks, we're going to be open. Everything is fine.
I know. Actually, it was really funny. When the lockdowns started, you guys remember the lockdowns, of course. It was only until like a few weeks ago that we were released from our curfews here in LA, which is completely mental. But a year ago, when the virus was sort of like spreading, Valeria was like, they're going to lock us in our apartment. We're not going to be able to leave. And I was like, they would never do that. That's such an authoritarian thing to do that you would never do it. Like, you would never do it in America. And they flipping did it. And they shut down all the businesses. I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe they did it. I still can't believe it. It's so un-American. It was so awful. And it did nothing. And I mean, for YouTube, what I mean is it did everything. It was perfect. It saved lives. There was a total difference between how people got the virus and survived here in California versus, somewhere like Sweden where they didn't have lockdowns. Completely, totally life-changing. I mean, look at everybody in Sweden's dead now. Did you know that? They're all dead. They all died. Everyone.
Horrifying.
Yeah. Not fake news, I promise. Look. It's ridiculous that we can't talk about this. It's so stupid. Because you know what happened in Sweden? Nothing. They're fine. Everybody's fine in Sweden. They're happy. They're doing a hell of a lot better than we are. They're pretty much over the virus at this point. But we had to kill our economy, kill people's jobs, kill people's businesses. It's ridiculous. All right. Let's see.
Did we just spend 35 minutes on one article and we have 7?
Yeah, but I'm pissed off about this. Public health and ethics experts agreed that the Biden administration need to strike a careful balance, encouraging shots and support the private sector initiatives, but don't put too much federal emphasis on the looming passports. If it becomes a government mandate, it would go down a dark road very quickly, said Brian C. Castrucci, who leads the Bethesda, Maryland-based Beaumont Foundation. So this is the stuff I was talking about that I was actually impressed that the Washington Post put this in here. A public health group funding Luntz's research into why some Americans are balking at the vaccine. It becomes a credential. It becomes a needing your papers, if you will. That could be dangerous, and it could turn people off. That's right, because we don't want to live in flippin' Germany in the 1940s. If you need to see your papers?
Yeah.
Papers? Oh, take this person to the concentration camp. I can do that accent because I'm German. And because everyone should be able to do any accent they want at any time. Anyway, all right, so it has to be that everybody can get it, and it's their choice, as it were. Said Ezekiel Emanuel of the Pennsylvania bioethics expert. He's a University of Pennsylvania, bioethics expert who co-authored a Journal of American. I can't read today. Sorry, guys. Blah, 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 blah. One thing I'm concerned about is that people won't be able to get vaccinated for a variety of reasons. Okay, and then they go into that crap again. But I do like that what this guy has to say. This Brian C. Castrucci. He's like, it can't become a mandate. It's got to be people's choice. Well, here's the thing. We shouldn't have a damn passport because a passport means you can't do things unless you have the passport. That's what a passport is. You can't go into a country unless you have a passport to get in that country. That says I can travel.
Yeah,
right?
you can go on a plane with your ID.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a passport, but you have to have a vaccine passport.
Now you have to have a vaccine, or they're going to start doing that. Hopefully this doesn't actually happen, guys.
Well, it's already happened in Israel.
Yeah, and I think it's going to happen in Europe, which is so disappointing. But anyway, we'll have to figure out how to deal with all that. All right, darling. Sorry that took so long, guys, but that pisses me off, and I thought it was an important story. Shall we move on to the next story, my love?
You're who?
My love.
Okay.
Oh, you act like I've never called you that before.
Every day you call me like this. Every day, every single day. But
not in front of people. Yeah,
publicly. No, I'm.
Sorry, it was a slip. I apologize. All
Thank
right,
you.
let's move on to the next.
Biden staffer physically blocks Ted Cruz from reporting on migrants.
Biden what?
Staffer. Biden staffer.
Stuffer.
That's what you wrote.
I believe it's staffer.
Staffer. What's the difference?
Well, I don't know what a stuffer is, but it sounds sexual. All right, so very inappropriate, darling. Very inappropriate. All right, so let me go ahead and read this. I'm sure you guys have all seen this video. It's gone viral. It's pretty crazy, but let's go ahead and play it for you if you haven't seen it already. Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.